Hey, welcome back to Views on Brews. Stick around if you're interested in finding out what sudachi fruit and yuzu fruit tastes like in a beer. Hey, welcome back to Views on Brews. I'm Brendan and this is Rye River's limited edition small batch brew of Intergalactic Yuzu Citrus Gose, brewed as a collaboration brew with Yeastie boys from New Zealand. The beer, we'll get into the beer in a minute. Anyway, check this out. Okay, yeah, so the Yeastie boys and Rye River Brewing Company have got together to make this beer. Yeastie Boys is in New Zealand. They've been going since 2008, as far as I can tell. And Rye River are just synonymous with making good beer in Ireland here. Intergalactic Yuzu, I'm not quite sure what to expect from this beer. This beer is going to be weird. It is a limited edition small batch beer. And they've made about 7, maybe even 8. I think it's about 7 limited edition beers in Rye River. But this one is definitely going to be one of those Marmite beers. You either love this kind of beer or you don't. If you're adventurous, if you love sour, if you love lactobacillus, and if you love kind of citrus fruits and a bit of a salty finish to your beer, then this one might appeal to you. I'm certainly interested in it. I love trying out absolutely everything I can in the beer world, so this is right up my street. I'm going to crack this beer open and then we're going to work out what it is we're drinking here. So Gose is traditional sour beer from the Goslar region of Germany, and let's pour this beer. There's a bit of an interesting tinge to the beer. Traditionally, I think this is a sour beer with lactobacillus in it. I'm not sure what they've put in this. There, it does actually say, it gives a lot of information on this, the side of this can. So it's got yuzu fruit in it. Let's start with yuzu and sudachi. Sudachi is a very sour type of citrus fruit. Yuzu is a similar but it's more along the tangerine mandarin sort of combination of citrus fruit, so a bit lemony, a bit mandarini, so that gives it a little bit of orange tinge to the beer. And in actual fact, there is a slight tinge to the coloration of the beer, but we'll see about that in a minute. And there is actually mandarin in here as well, and lime and lemon. So you've got 1, 2, 3, you've got 5 different citrus fruits in here from all over the place. And then you've got L. Helveticus and dry English ale yeast. Now, dry English ale yeast is just to ferment the beer, but Helveticus is a lactobacillus strain. So that's going to dry the beer right out and give it some sort of really funky sort of flavors going on in there. They describe this as a fresh margarita, like a fresh margarita. This drinks together, brings together the fresh and tart citrus notes of yuzu fruit, lime, and with a slight salty finish. Has barley and wheat in it. Gose must have 50% wheat in it, so I'm presuming that's the same for this. Hops are Tradition, which is a really traditional hop. It was brewed on May 2020, so we're June now, or July now actually. So this is a very young beer, batch number 1, and this is the 388th can off of the run. 3.9% in volume. That's a lot of talking about a beer before even drinking it. I'm going to start having a look at this beer now. And I'm not going to spend too much time. I want to just drink this beer and get tucking into it. So sour beers are known for not having head on the beer. So there's no head retention on most sour beers. But I'm expecting one to pop up on this a little bit when I spin it up. very slight carbonation going on, and in fact, there's a little bit of carbonation going on. I probably poured a bit too much to begin with in this glass. But it fizzes away. That's exactly what I expect. The more acidity you have in the beer, the less head you're going to have on the top of it. That's just the way it is. Let's see if we can get some of the aromas going off for this thing. 3.9% is right on the lower edge of what's a Gose style. Between 4 and 5% they should be. It does have citrus on the nose, but nondescript so far. I can definitely get lime out of it now. And maybe a bit of mandarin going on there as well. Slancha. Woo! Woo! Okay. Wow, yuzu. Maybe that's the word you say when you've had it. Whew. Okay, this is one of those sour beers that's really puckering, which is cool. I love that. I wasn't expecting it. I should have been. Whoa. Okay. Oh my God, the mandarin comes through really nicely on that. Now, I'm not sure if I'm getting Sudachi, is that a way of saying it? And yuzu, I'm not sure, but I'm getting a very pleasant sort of a melange of citrus fruits. The citrus fruit element part of it itself is only really sour when it comes to the limey sort of part of it. So yuzu, I think I'm right in saying, is more like mandarin, and the Sudachi and the lime is on the sour sort of bitterness end of, or the sourness end of the citrus fruit scale. And then when you come back up to the mandarin end, you're getting a bit more sweeter and a bit more, or less sour, let's say. Slight haze to this. Traditionally, Gose was brewed with high sodium content water, so naturally salty. But this beer will have had probably a neutral water profile, and they would have built it up and added salt to it. Salt satiates your palate. Okay. Let's really get into this beer now. Let's see what this is about. I'm going to give it one of my Brendan spin-ups. There is a little bit of a head going on there. I'm sure it's going to settle away. I can hear it fizzing off. Oh, the aromas that you get off this beer are quite unlike nearly any beer that I've had before. I would have to say, I mean, I was expecting this beer to be strange in the profile, but it's so pleasant to get those mandarin and limey sort of lemon, limey and mandarin sort of combination of aromas all together, all in the same whiff up the nose. It's really nice. I'm getting used to this now. I'm gonna stick my neck out and say this is the first time I've had this beer. Oh, this is just brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic beer. I'll stick my neck out on this one, and I will say you have to try this beer. Even if you're not a sour beer fan, this is like sour, but it's more palatable because you perceive a lot of the sourness that's going on in it as just sourness from citrus fruit that we all love. We all love limes, we all love lemons and oranges and mandarins and Sudachi and yuzu. We just love those kinds of flavors. And then if you just add them for a very sort of light-bodied profile beer with a very just a gentle base beer underneath it, it's just a winning combination. Oh, that's fantastic. It really is. Let me see if I missed anything. Intergalactic Yuzu. So Intergalactic is obviously, now it's just clicked in my head, it's obviously coining the Yeastie Boys music, so that's pretty cool. I like that. Each beer is never like the last, constantly evolving through the transformation of the purest ingredients and the most creative ideas to bring something truly crafted, unique, and thoroughly enjoyable. Well, it really is unique, it really is thoroughly enjoyable, and it has been crafted. It's been crafted really well. 3.9%. This for me is just one of the highlights of my year trying this beer. And it just looks, when it doesn't look fantastic in the glass, but when you taste it and when you smell it, that mandarin is just incredible. It's almost like a perfume going up the nose. It's fantastic. And then I guess the yuzu is sort of propping that up, or it's the yuzu that I'm getting, I don't realize it. And what really, really makes the beer is that saltiness that's at the end of the beer. I want to explain this right. It's not, you don't say, oh my God, that's salty. It just, there's a bit of a salt balance. The same way, like if you're making some biscuits, sometimes it requires salt in the recipe, and you think, oh, salt, that can't be good. But it just finishes off and gives a real clear definition to the flavors, the other flavors, in fact. That's what salt does, and it just does it so well in here. Now, I've had a couple of goses in the past from American breweries, in fact, and one in particular I just found was really not to my liking. But this here is just changing my mind. I've really not enjoyed goses in the past, but fantastic beer. I'm so glad I had this beer. I'm having a bit of you can probably see I'm having a bit of a shuffle around. We're looking for epoxy resin for this to get the beer caps down. We're going to get all the Irish beer caps down in there, some of the worldwide beer caps on there as well. This is just a newly made redundant red wine barrel that's had several beers in it from my beer club, where we've all contributed beer to this barrel and made several sour beers in it. Some fantastic, some need a bit of work, but that's all the fun of home brewing. There's the glass collection in the background. We're working this out. We'll get it together. Anyway, I'm going to get off and enjoy the rest of this beer. Do not miss out on this beer. If you walk past this beer in an off license, pop in, go and pick it up, and get yourself a couple of them. Fantastic. Cheers, by the way, for whoever's subbed. There's 101 subs on my channel now, so this is a bit of a celebration beer for me, and I really, really want to say thanks very much to everyone that's been viewing the videos. I couldn't have imagined even getting 20 subs. Like, I'm just happy to sit here and talk about beer anyway, whether people listen or not. But anyway, cheers, sláinte, all that good stuff, and it's on to the next one. That's my view on this brew. Bye.